Do you remember when common decency and courtesies were just normal? Every generation has changes. Some of them are wonderful, some not so much. But what happened to normal? Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. Well, have any of you looked around and noticed that the word normal just doesn't seem to exist anymore? And I'm not talking about going back to the good old days when things were a certain way, like you knew your mailman, he addressed you by name, he knew all your kids and your family and everything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just everyday decency and common sense and values and courtesies that were just ingrained in us. It was normal to use those on a daily basis, but it's not there anymore. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of what I see, but I would love to hear what you see. So, one of the things is the grocery store. Now, I don't go to the grocery store, Dave does. It used to be he could go to one grocery store and get everything he needed, no matter what it was. Sure, another store might have some item cheaper than the one you're in, but as far as what you were getting for your groceries, you could get it there. Now he has to go to four different grocery stores just to get what's on his list. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they don't have enough employees or nobody's stocking the shelves or they have the merchandise, but it's in the back of the store in the warehouse and nobody feels the need to get those shelves stocked. But that just isn't normal and it's such an inconvenience when you have to go to different grocery stores just to get what's on your list. Another thing, it is not normal, in my opinion, for phones to be more important than people. Have you noticed that? I mean, that's just common decency. If you're with another person, if, you're maybe at a restaurant or something, or you're with a group of people, it used to be you looked at each other, you had good conversation, you listened to what people said, and you shared. Now, most people are on their phones. They're not paying any attention to what you are saying or anyone else is saying. Their phone gets all of their attention. I mean, we're giving attention to a device and not to a human being. That is not normal. And what about phone calls? I mean, my goodness, we used to run to the phone to get it. I mean, because you wanted to answer your call, somebody was calling you. But nobody does anymore. People don't answer their phones. It could be sitting right here in the palm of your hand and they don't answer it. They just let it go to a text. I don't understand why. Or they let it go to a voicemail, is what I meant to say. And then they may respond to you with the text. But why? Does that seem normal to you? I mean, isn't it just common courtesy to pick up the phone and answer it, especially if you know who's calling? I know there's a lot of scammers and stuff today that people don't want to answer their phone, and I get that. But when it's someone you know and they're in your life, why don't you answer the phone? It's ridiculous to me. What about just everyday niceties? People being nice. It's like the word nice doesn't exist anymore. People being kind, people smiling, people opening the door for someone, just common courtesies. That is so normal. It should be a part of everybody's life, but it isn't. That part of normal is gone. You can smile to someone in a store. They don't smile back. They don't acknowledge that you even looked at them. Or if you're walking down an aisle and you bump into someone or you need to pass them, you would say, "Excuse me." People don't anymore. They just go past you, and if they happen to bump into you or whatever, oh well. They won't say anything. That is not normal. Where the heck is normal? And how about the customer is always right? Now, I'm not saying every customer is right, and some customers can be difficult and give the cashiers a hard time, and that's just plain wrong. But I'm talking about you are at a store, you're going to make purchases. You're giving over your hard earned money to buy merchandise from that store. And that cashier can't give you the time of day. They act like you've interrupted their little break in their head, their mental break. They don't feel like working at the moment. They don't say hi, they don't say thank you. They don't say anything. They're just rude. They don't remember that they are working for you. They are being paid to service you and what you're doing in that store, and they're being paid to represent that store. That should be normal. It's not. It's gone. Now, I don't know about your neighborhood. If you're in a well established neighborhood that you've been in for many years, you probably know most of your neighbors, but things are very transient now, and people move out, and new people move in, and things like that. And that's okay. You don't have to be best friends with your neighbors, but at least you knew your neighbors. You knew their name. You knew them enough to say hi if you saw them out in public somewhere. That was just being courteous, whether you like them or not. It's gone. People don't know their neighbors. They don't want to know their neighbors. They don't want to come outside. Everybody wants to isolate themselves. And what about respect? I mean, I feel like every human being knows what respect is, or they certainly should. But that should be completely normal. But it isn't anymore. You might not agree with someone. You could have two totally different viewpoints on something, and that's okay. But you still have respect. You respect how they feel, they respect how you feel. But that's gone. That normal is no longer in the picture. People want to argue, they want to argue about everything. They get hateful if you don't agree with their point of view. They want conflict. They want to fight about something. I don't understand why anybody would see that as being normal because it definitely isn't. Don't you think it's considered normal, like if you go to the doctor, that they at least listen to you, or you can ask some questions and they'll answer? That it's kind of a smooth transition. You go in, you say, "Hey, I'm here," and then you go back and see the doctor. I take my brother in law to his doctor appointments, and there is nothing normal about it at all. You go to check in, and you're there for 10 minutes. I've talked about this before, giving the same information over and over and over again. And then you wait forever, and then you get back to see the doctor, and they're not listening to anything you say. They're not addressing your questions unless they just hand you a script and say, oh, here, take this pill. That is not normal. That's not being decent. It's not being courteous. It's not making eye contact with someone. It's not listening to their concerns or having some compassion. It's like people are just devoid of these things that should be a part of them. I'm sure it might have been at one time, but where did it go? Where did normal go? It is really hard for me to believe that any adult out there, especially seniors, never heard the word or was never taught to say please or thank you or something like that. I mean, I know we were raised with those. The young kids today, I would think, are hopefully raised with at least those common things like please and thank you. Yet you can be out in public and someone may say something to you. They might say, "Can you move?" But they can't say, "Could you please move so I can get by?" Or they won't say thank you. If you say, "Oh, here, you just dropped something, fell out of your purse." They just take it and go on their way. They can't say thank you. Why is that? Why did they lose normal? Normal, common courtesy, decency, respect, and kindness. Where is it? Where did it go? How did it get erased? I think this is particularly difficult for us seniors to understand just because it was such a big part of our life growing up. And again, I don't want to tie this into the past because I know things change. I know the world changes. I know that now you don't have just one regular mailman that you've known for 20 years because it could be a different one every day because they have to hire all these temporary people. I get it. I understand that. But when you grow up knowing what is considered normal as far as, your everyday common courtesy and decency to others, you really pick up on it when you're out there and you wonder what happened to that person? What happened in their life that they have forgotten to reciprocate in kind? They're in your age group, so they would have been brought up with those values as well, but they don't use them anymore because their new normal is to just, I don't know, be rude, not take a minute, a second to say thanks or thank you. I just, I don't know. I don't know what happens to change a person like that. But I guess it's all over. Now, from what I hear from others, that in today's world, people are just that way with everybody. I can remember years ago, and again, I'm not a political person at all. I don't watch the news. I don't want anything to do with it. But I can remember years ago, my dad, he might have liked who the congressmen were or the Senate, and he didn't like some, or he liked this president, but he didn't like that one. But I never heard him call anybody names. I mean, he might not agree with them, but he respected them. That's the key word, respect. And from what I hear that's out there today, oh my gosh, people are cussing and calling each other filthy names. These are like high up officials. and they say horrible things. What is going on? Where is normal? It's like it was taken away, but I don't know how it was taken away. So let's get to the good part about this message. Just because it's rare now or pretty much gone doesn't mean it has to be gone for us. We can still be who we are. We're not responsible for the other person. We know what normal is. We know that it's normal to answer the phone if we know who it is. We know that it should be normal if you call a repairman to come and fix something and he says, okay, I'll be there tomorrow morning at 9, and he never shows up. He doesn't even call. You don't even hear from him. We know those things. So we can still be normal. We can still be kind. We can still say please and thank you. We can still be normal. Just because the world isn't, just because normal just seems to have been wiped away, doesn't mean it has to be wiped away from you or me or someone else. We don't have to change with everything around us. We can still be kind. We can still be compassionate. We can still be all the things that we know we should be. We know better. And because we know better, we have to do better. Maybe if we continue on with what normal used to be, I don't know, maybe it'll catch on and other people will pick it up. But whether they do or not, I'm not giving up normal. I know what it is and I'm keeping it. How about you? How do you feel about it? I would love to know in the comments. Well, now I'm going to move on and leave you an inside beauty tip. My inside beauty tip comes from Romans 12:21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil by good. We all have the opportunity to show goodness to everybody. We don't have to let this crazy world change who we are. Rather than focus on what has been lost, let's focus on what we still have. We have it within us. I think everybody does. They just choose not to use it. Maybe it's out of anger, hatred, bitterness, division. I don't know what the reasons are, but I know what my reasons are for hanging on to normal, for being who I am and treating people the way I was taught to treat them. I'm sure most of you can relate to how some most common everyday courtesies just aren't common anymore. They're gone. I'm sure we've all heard the saying, well, this is the new normal. Well, I don't want the new normal. I don't want anything to do with the new normal. I like normal the way it was created to be. I like that normal, and that's the normal I'm sticking with. How about you? I thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate it. And until we meet again, this is the old girl signing out. See ya.